engage in violence.
Geriatric 1927 is my god!
I gotta leave him feedback?
Geriatric 1927! I never had a grandpa! I never had a grandpa! Now I feel connected! What would Marshall McLuhan say? The world is a global village. You know, the medium is not the message, it's the message is inside the medium. It's within the context of the verbal assault, we all suffer from the oversaturation of the big media within our own souls, as reflected on the Andy Warhol-esque 1984 George Orwell and the super surveillance, and the paparazzis are obviously coming after us in a way that we ourselves cannot understand without fully embracing our inner existentialism.
Look at that man on YouTube. Everybody...
Like, here's a man, for example, responding to Geriatric 1927. Somehow reached inside him and grabbed that ventricle, that left ventricle of his heart, and said, "My God, what happened to the right ventricle?" Geriatric. This is basically an acid media test. I mean, this is what big media is having trouble with, because the convention is to be super saccharine, super artificial, to rely on the old turning point formula in Hollywood script writing, and people are conditioned to that to the point where it's become like prayer wheels. You're just spinning the prayer wheel. You don't even know what the prayers say anymore. And suddenly, within the context of YouTube, you have somebody who's actually got something from the heart to say, which resonates. And people are finding their humanity in ways that have been, shot through the heart because of these political assassinations that are going around the world, funded by these big media Murdoch-type corporations, honey. This is what we're hearing. This is what the YouTube is saying.
Well, as a former TV executive myself, I can't imagine ever having been able to go into the BBC and say, I have a guy born in 1927, some geriatric dude, and I want to make a TV program about him. But look, he goes onto YouTube, and he's beating off the big media within the 7th episode.
Yeah, I see that my first try got over 1.5 million views.
Which is now beating a lot of the programming on certain channels.
Well, definitely on many of the cable, like BBC Three gets...
Bill O'Reilly only gets 500,000.
Yeah, exactly. He has more viewers than Bill O'Reilly.
No, but I mean, Murdoch has done a deal with MySpace, right?
Right.
Within the heartbeat, MySpace started to cough up MySpace-generated titty-showing, celebrity, reality-based ersatz nonsense, as you would expect a Murdoch publication to do. So MySpace has been infiltrated already to some degree. And YouTube will, as you point out, sure, it'll be bought out. I think once they figure out the revenue model, because they're burning up something like $1.2 million a month in bandwidth, and they're not exactly cash flow positive, but once they figure out some revenue model, yeah, they're going to be bought out, of course. I mean, Google was absolutely unattractive .com nowhere until they developed the ad per click model. Then it became a $60 billion company. So YouTube, obviously, there has to be a revenue model attached to it, and yeah, it'll be bought out. And then, but I think what we're seeing is this mentality, this need to establish a public space. Because on the way over here through Jardin Luxembourg, you were saying, you were growing up, we were going past the playground, and he said, oh yeah, our playground was in back of McDonald's. It was a corporation-sponsored playground. Yep. And this is what everyone has grown up with, and they, in their hearts, they long for real, true public space. It's not commercial space. So YouTube offers that. The whole trend in business in America is a two-speed business model between, what they want to do, obviously, with this bill is create a pay-per-view, pay-per-access internet, a super internet, which you get the download speeds of media properties that you're going to pay for. You can't get it freely. Now, the phone companies want to be able to charge for that. The phone companies and cable companies want to monetize the space that's right now is basically free, right? So there's money to be made. There's business for the phone companies to get in there and get in the middle. Right.
But then you have this bill that says, all right, we're going to protect so that they can't do such a thing, right? That's the theory of what net neutrality would be. But what I can't figure out is, why would Congress pass such a benevolent bill, or just nice bill, to protect these things when
They wouldn't. It was only
Oh.
because there was
Yeah.
a huge outcry that it's in. I guess right now it's hasn't been passed. So
No,
it's-
the Ma Bells are trying to make it so for their own monopoly that they can start charging favorable rates through a Murdoch. But the fact is that even AOL is the last one to really have to capitulate to this new model. Remember, they were the ones with the shitty dial-up service where they locked you into those contracts that you could never get out of, and it was the last entity to offer this really expensive dial-up.
oh yeah, broadband, yeah, AOL for
but,
broadband.
but this traffic flow is the key measure between those in the community who are creating content for free and the big media. So this is the competition is guys like this. Because scarcity going forward, scarcity used to be oil-driven economy, scarcity used to be real estate-driven economy. The definition of scarcity could be labor, it could be production. But scarcity going forward is going to be time times days times population. There's only so many hours in the day and so many people can view media per day, per globe. Which means that anyone who comes in there now, because attention quantity is so curtailed, who can attract eyeballs for any period of time at all, you're taking revenues away from MTV, CBS, NBC, Viacom. So you're sucking eyeballs away. He's a threat because they're so tightly leveraged and overbooked for every hour that they force through the tube now. Anyone who's coming up there with free media that's attracting this type of attention is a threat. The only way you can cut these guys off is to put toll booths in there and to make it out of their reach economically. People responding to this guy making their own videos in response.
Right, is that they won't stand for such a
It
thing.
shows that they understand what's at stake in a way that they haven't seen myself, and really in a way you haven't seen, that people are willing to go on record now and to articulate exactly what's at stake, which is their own humanity, almost, you could say, without putting too much of an exaggeration there, but their own access to their own thoughts. Remember, this net neutrality bill is trying to protect people's access to their own thoughts, at the end of the day, because as all of this intellectual property gets locked up with copyright law and put on corporate balance sheets for 100 years and plus, that means that we, the human race that's developed all these ideas for generations, will have to pay for access to our own thoughts, our own legacy of
sadly,
of our own soul, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, what a corporation would love. But anyway, you can just see the response. I mean, this is where this new class, this new generation coming up seems to be getting motivated and understanding the issues. I guess before you can get this new, Madge often asks, why is everyone so apparently sleepwalking through these days when corporations are taking over? And I think because, for the most part, people don't understand what's at stake. But I think now people are at least understanding what's at stake, which I think is a precursor to then taking some action. Stacy, what do you think?
If enough people,
I think people fall in love on the internet.
Love.
they do. Where am I going on the internet to fall in love? Tell me the.
You're the one that has a good time on the internet.
Hey, no. Fortunately, I can edit.
Oh, honey.
And this is how the whole discussion of net neutrality ends. That's where it ends up. All right.
Yoko and John.
Of the internet.